Okay, so still waiting on the last second speaker. Um, it's 12 o'clock. We'll be starting very soon. Waiting on the second speaker. I think she might be having a bit of technical issue. We'll be starting in a minute. Okay, yeah, so she's in. And we can get started. Yeah, I think it's a better view. All right, good day, everyone, and thanks for joining in on our second webinar. Today we have with us Kafo Okoyemi Abiola, as well as Adenike Adegoke. And before I give them the floor to talk, I'm going to do a very short introduction by reading their bios so we can have an idea of who they are and their pedigree, basically. So I will be starting with our first speaker, Kafo Koyemi Abiola. And Kafo Koyemi Abiola is a graduate of German studies from the University of Ibadan. Abiola is a distinguished DAD scholar and a go-to certified intercultural trainer from Nigeria. Currently serving as a German language tutor, he has consistently demonstrated a commitment to academic excellence and cross-cultural dialogue. During his 2026 IPS fellowship at the German Bundestag, Abiola gained high-level legislative experience in the office of a member of German Parliament. This follows a strong history of leadership at his university, where he served as vice president and financial secretary of the German Students' Body, focusing on effective communication and the representation of minority interests. Dedicated to strengthening democratic resilience, Abiola bridges his expertise in German culture with a passion for youth's political participation. He aims to utilize his first-hand experience in the German parliamentary system to empower civil society and foster inclusive political engagement in Nigeria. Quite the profile. And the second speaker, Adenike Adegoke. Adinke Adegoke is a graduate of Obafemi Awolowo University, Nigeria, where she studied German and French. She currently works as a freelance German teacher and has supported learners at various proficiency levels for the past 3 years. In January 2026, she participated in the International Parliamentary Scholarship program at the German Parliament in Berlin, gaining insights into parliamentary work and political processes. She speaks English, German, French, and Yoruba. And we are so glad to have you both with us. We believe it's going to be a wonderful session. And without further ado, we'll be diving straight into what we have today. And the first question I have for you both is, can you briefly introduce yourself? I mean, I've read out your bios and all, but then can you give a personal touch, introduce yourself, and just tell us about your German learning journey? So let's start with Kafo.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Kafo Abiola. I'm from Lagos State. I'm a German language tutor and a cultural trainer for Business Lagos, Nigeria, and I have a bachelor's in German studies from the University of Ibadan. So,
Okay.
and my interests are education, culture, politics, and fashion. Yeah.
All right.
So,
Okay.
it's nice to be here.
All right. We're glad to have you, and we're happy you honored the invitation. We'll be coming back to you also how you got into German, but before that, let's hear from Frau Adenike Adegoke. You're muted.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. Hello, my name is Adenike Adegoke. In full, actually, Adenike Adegoke. I currently live in Nigeria, in Osun State. I studied German and French at the Obafemi Awolowo University. And for about 3 years, I've been working as a German language tutor. My interest basically lies in the international relationship. I like to see how countries work together, and also in cross-cultural experiences. Thank you.
Okay. So, thank you very much for that, and thank you for joining us. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Abiola, can you briefly give us the background story as to how you got into German? What made you choose German as a course of study, and your experience basically from when you decided to study German up until now? Can you just give us a background experience and just that?
Okay, actually, when I applied for admission to University of Ibadan, then I was supposed to study English and I was supposed to study English. But then my cutoff didn't meet English at first. And then I was like, then I think there was something like change of course, something else of such. Yeah, I saw that too. Then I was just like scrolling through the courses that I can actually probably change over to. Then I saw German and I was surprised that they offer this kind of course in Nigeria, and that's just I just developed the interest instantly. Then I was supposed to I was thinking, I'll be able to do change of course, but unfortunately that year there was no option for me to change course to German. Then I was like, definitely, if I'm going to apply next year, I'm definitely going to German. So that was how that happened. Then I applied to German the next year, the following year, and I actually like German because I developed interest just through that, and from then the rest was history.
Okay, quite a story. And Frau Adegoke, how did you get into German and French? Yeah, or maybe just German. Well, you could just give us history of both of them, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, it's German and French. So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
So it's German and French, but majorly German. So for me, I was going to pick a course to study. I didn't want to do law. I was interested in mass communication. I always liked languages. I did French throughout secondary school. So the natural order was for me to pick French. But I was advised against it due to administrative issues and also. So I ended up starting with German and then I combined with French later on. So I've been in German for quite some time now. So through my bachelor's, I've had the experience to explore German as an academic study. But through self-study, you have to learn the actual language itself. So there was also that. Yeah, and it's been a good ride so far.
Okay, okay. So thank you very much for that. I believe our audience are picking one or two. Now, moving on to your experience in Germany, Berlin. When did you first hear about the IPS scholarship and what motivated you to apply? So let's start with Frau Adegoke now. When you heard about the IPS scholarship for the first time and your motivation to apply? We are muted.
Yeah, so I think the first time I heard about the scholarship was actually when I applied. I had seen it previously, maybe in 2023, but I could not apply then because the program is for graduates, strictly graduates. So 2024 as well, I saw it. Then last year again, I saw the advert and I think I saw it in the WhatsApp group. And then I realized I could try to apply at that point, and I did apply. So, what's the second question?
What motivated you to apply?
What's motivated me to apply? So from the first time seeing it, like a very, I'm quite interested in governance, politics, international relationships. So it looked like a good way to explore all of that, learn more as the realm of democracy. So that was majorly my motivation to apply. And also because I speak German, it's always a good experience to apply for programs where you get to explore German speaking opportunities for a month, 2 months, just get to practice your German and improve your people too.
Okay, thank you very much. And Ekafo, how did you hear about it and what inspired you to apply?
Okay, so in 2023, so the IPS team, they came to my school. That was in 20. I was in final year then. They came to my school for an info session. Then and there was a member of parliament that actually came with them. So they came then to our school to introduce. So then I was not even really interested then because I didn't really understand all these things because that was not even what was on my mind then. Then it was just project and all. But they came to our school then and they talked about the program, blah blah blah. Even my supervisor was even telling me then that I could apply, and I was like, I don't have interest in politics. I will never apply. I was like, no, I will never apply. It's not my interest. But then, as time goes on, so last year when the application came out, I was not even going to apply. I was not going to apply, even though I've been actually following their politics little by little, because I actually followed the member of parliament on Instagram after he came. So I've been seeing, I see his posts and all. So I've been picking interest, but I was not thinking of applying. So last year, even I wasn't even going to apply. So some things happened. Then I think I even applied like 9 minutes. I applied 9 minutes. It was the last day of interview that I actually, last day of
application.
I submitted my application the last day. It was actually like impromptu, and my friends were actually motivated me to apply. They were like, it's something you can actually do. Like, it's something you can do. And I was like, and it's not something I've actually tried before. Although I have two bits of interest. They were like, just go for it. And I applied. And I'm glad I did.
Okay. Well, the impact of friends in motivating us to do things. Thank you very much for sharing. Now to the next question, Ekafo. What do you think made your application successful? I believe the IPS is a competitive program. I mean, people from all over Africa get to apply. So what do you think made your application stand out amongst the sea of applications? So let's start with Eka for this time around.
Okay, so I believe what made it one thing I can say is that your motivation has to be like you have to care about something. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like, because everything is like, people just think politics is about just like something that is very, it has to be something very like very serious. It doesn't really have to be really really serious, but you must be passionate about something. You must be passionate about something, and also your German language skill is very important. It's really important. Like your certificates, your German language certificate is really important. So yeah,
Okay.
I think that's it.
Okay. Motivation, passion, and as well as the German.
Yeah, and also you must actually like try to show that you're actually just like a bit or like you know what's going on. Like, don't just be, even though I said you don't have to really like be into politics. At least just show, just don't let it be like you just want to just apply. That you care about something, that you really care about something. I don't know how to explain. Maybe Friday could you explain better.
Okay, Fraudig, okay. You have the floor.
Yeah. What was the question once again?
What do you think made your application successful in such a competitive program?
Yeah. So, as a perform, as rightly said, the application is designed for people that have political interest, social interest. So it is highly important, very, very important that in your application you are able to demonstrate and show political engagement or social engagement to the level. So necessarily, like you said, politics is not something big that is so far away from us. Just you being involved in school politics, to put it that way, being involved in your community, in your society is enough demonstration. But it is very, very important that in your application you demonstrate how you were able to you've been able to socially and politically engage. But also for my application specifically, so the program itself deals with parliamentary democracy, legislature, all of that. But we also had series of workshops on various topics, human rights, democracy, press freedom, and a major part of that is the memory in German. Yeah, so the memory culture deals with how Germany engages with the past, the post-war period, the actual history. And I did my bachelor thesis in something along that line. So I think that also made my application stand out. Yeah, and then your German language skills also very important. So you need to have at least B2. Yeah.
Okay. So basically what I picked out was being socially and politically engaged in a lot of activities, so your applications can stand out. So if you're on the listeners or audience section and you're thinking of applying one day, try to engage yourself within your language schools, your university, within the environment, within the community. So when you apply for something like this, they can see that you have a background of helping, background of being socially engaged. Ekafo, do you want to add something to that? Yeah, me.
So yeah, she actually said it all. So you must be like engaged and all that. Yeah, because according to what she said, I had to like, because when I was in school, I was vice president at the point, and I was associate director at the point too. And also the fact that I'm an intercultural trainer, that's what I think it played a role here, because they were actually like referring to that. They usually like they refer to that twice during the program that I'm an intercultural trainer. So yeah, I think that's actually like it also played a role in my application.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm getting comments that There are issues with the audio, so I think it's from your end. If you could, probably check on that, so would appreciate that. So while you're checking on that, I think we can continue. Now, the next question. What was the most challenging part of the application or interview process? The most challenging part? Was it between both processes, the process of applying, was anything particularly challenging? And in the, I don't know if there was an interview process, was anything also particularly challenging about that? Let's start with Frau Adegoke.
Yeah, so challenging parts of the application. So yes, there is an interview. So the application itself, I think it ran for about 3 months. You had to compile the necessary documents, motivation letter, letter of recommendation, everything required. You had to put it in one PDF and send it to a particular email address. And then you get back from them whether you are shortlisted or not. So I was shortlisted for the interview, and the interview was at the German consulate in Lagos. Now, preparing for the interview, even putting together the application itself, it was not so challenging, but it was important while putting together the application to really think about, again, how you've socially engaged, politically engaged, and make sure you show that it's not just a German speaking opportunity, it's targeted for something specific. Then preparing for the interview itself, I always say the night before the interview, I started realizing, wow, there's so much to learn. So now I speak German. I think I speak good German, but this is program targeted for the legislature, the parliament, and there is a register for that. So I had to learn words in German, for example, what is checks and balances, that's about Entteilung. So the moment of the interview, I realized, oh wait, what's checks and balances, what's separation of powers? So I had to start checking, and that was helpful because during the interview, I was actually asked what I thought about speaking about Entteilung. So if I had not checked, I would not have known that. So I think the challenging part was realizing that I had to sit down and actually learn register, at least to a good extent, for that particular program, the interview, the kind of thing. So it's not just everyday speaking, there's a sort of technical language involved. There's a way to answer questions. For example, you have to use the as opposed to using do if you use doing, things like that. I think that was the one challenge I had.
Okay, so just to go through it for the sake of those people that are still having issues, what he said was that the application process was not so challenging, and you had to, when applying, you had to put in how you are engaged socially within the environment, within the community. Then he also talked about learning register that is, context specific, basically for parliament, for politics, as well as using technical languages and knowing when to use the form, the informal address. So that's the summary of what she said. Now, Kafo.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, Ekafo. The question again: what was the most challenging part of the application or interview process?
So I will actually say the application process itself is not like challenging. It's pretty straightforward. When you have all your documents combined, everything, like you have everything ready, you are good to go. Then when it comes to the interview, so what first of all you have to like make sure you know what is in your motivation, because they will be reading it. Yeah, so your motivation is just right in front of them. So make sure you didn't just like write, or somebody writes for you. Make sure that you wrote this yourself. And also, when you are writing, not that one that you just do Google Translator. Make sure you write it and you understand what is there. So in case they'll pick a word and you will be like, you will not be thrown off and be like, and it's definitely inside your motivation, but because you didn't like write it yourself or you didn't go through it, then you'll be confused. Make sure what is your motivation. You actually like read it very well, because you will actually know what to prepare for. Because it is a job interview, you know the job you are trying to prepare for. But this is something different. Because I didn't know what to actually prepare for, because I'm like, I don't know what they might ask me. Are they going to ask me about Nigeria politics? I don't really know a lot about Nigerian politics. A lot like that. Then they asked me about Nigerian politics. But then, just like she said earlier, that just to register. Even me, I didn't know what checks and balances mean? So those I know they are executive, judiciary, and the what's the last one? Executive, judiciary, and legislature. That morning, just by luck, I just said I should just check it, what the German equivalent, and they actually asked me when I got there. So that was
Okay.
it.
Thank you very much. As a summary for those that are still having the issue, what Kafu said basically was the application itself is less challenging. You just compile your documents and send it. It's pretty straightforward. But then, in the process of the interview, you have to know what is in your motivation. Don't have AI write it for you or someone write it for you. You write it yourself so you can ingest what you've written, understand what you've written. So when it comes up as a question in the process of the interview, you are able to respond accordingly. And also learning registers, which is what Frau Adegoke also said. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can put it in the comment section. We'll get to them after we've gone through our questions here. So the next question we have: what was your experience like working in the German Bundestag environment? Your experience working within the German Bundestag environment. So let's start with Eka for this time around.
So actually, the first 3 weeks was actually pretty like normal. The fact that we like 3 weeks is the theory aspect where so we have we still have our the other PPs, people from other African countries. We actually like move together. We attend workshops together. So those first 3 weeks is still normal. But the last week, the last week, which was the practicum poker, that's the internship week. That one was slightly different because you have to be on your own. So you find out that you're actually like the only black person in the room. So it's new. So the practicum poker is actually like somehow new to you. So then I think I can actually so for me, it was not really that new to me because as an intercultural trainer, this is what I feel like teach people like this is what I train people for, like how to like the way the office culture is in German, as regards the way it differs from Nigeria. So I was not really a lot of things were not like new to me. So I already know these things. It was pretty much like straightforward. But then I see like some things are still I still got like some new things, some new perspectives that I was not like expecting, like in a good way though.
Okay.
It was in a good way.
So if I got you right, you basically said the first 3 weeks were normal. You get to move around with other African applicants or fellows there, and it was okay. But then the internship week where you had to be on your own, was a bit different, but because of your intercultural experience or being an intercultural trainer, you were able to easily adapt and have less of a cultural shock, so to say. So, okay. Thank you very much for that. Frau Adegoke, the question again, your experience working in the German Bundestag environment, what was it like?
Okay, so for me, working in the German Bundestag environment was a nice experience. It was quite exciting to get to work in such a place that should be a high level place to put it that way. Got to be among politicians, high ranking people. Sometimes we had to do, most times we have to show up very official. Never really know what pictures you're going to take that day, because if you do take a lot of pictures with a lot of prominent people. And then, of course, I had my colleagues from other African countries. The the exchange was very nice. Getting to meet other people from Nigeria, from various African countries. Working in the German Bundestag environment was a new experience, and it was really eye-opening because you got to see how things are run at such a high level of government.
Okay. All right. So basically, you talked about it being a nice experience, and then you talked about showing up officially. I mean, I saw pictures from your, pictures from time you were there and the whole shot, it was pretty much official. And getting to meet other people, you said it was also a nice experience. So, okay. The next question, we'll get back to the questions in a minute. Well, just in a minute. So, the next question, what cultural or professional differences between Nigeria and Germany stood out for you? Cultural differences, professional differences between Nigeria, where we are, and Germany, where we were, or where we still are, maybe. Which of those differences stood out for us? So let's start with Frau Adegoke.
Okay. So
So
for
for
me, the
me, the
first
first
thing
thing
I
I
noticed
noticed
right
right
from,
from,
can you
can
hear
you
me?
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the
so the
first
first
thing I
thing I
noticed
noticed
right
right
from,
from,
even
even
before we
before we
arrived
arrived
in
in
Germany,
Germany,
was
was
the
the
organization
organization
and the
and the
efficiency
efficiency
of the
of the
team
team
hosting
hosting
us.
us.
So
So
there's
there
this
is this
thing they
thing they
call
call
organisatorisches
organisatorisches
in
in
German.
German.
So
So
that's
that's
when
when
there's a
there is a
program
program
and
and
everything that
everything that
has to
has
do
to
with
do
the
with the
planning,
planning,
arrival,
arrival,
hosting,
hosting,
how
how
you're
you're
going
going
to
to
stay
stay
there.
there.
It
It
was
was
very
very
organized.
organized.
I
I
don't
don't
think there
think
was
there
a
was a
point
point
where
where
anything
anything
went
went
wrong.
wrong.
So
So
I
I
don't think
don't think
anything was
anything was
allowed to
allowed to
go
go
wrong.
wrong.
So
So
everything
everything
was
was
on
on
time.
time.
Everything
Everything
went
went
smoothly.
smoothly.
If a
If a
program was
program was
supposed to
supposed to
start
start
by
by
9,
9,
started by
started by
9.
9.
And then
And
the
then the
punctuality.
punctuality.
So
So
at the
at
end
the
of
end
the
of the
program, we
program, we
actually
actually
did
did
get
get
a,
a,
like I
like
call
call
it
it the
commendation
commendation
by the
by the
program
program
coordinator.
coordinator.
She
She
said
said
she
she
was
was
very
very
impressed
impressed
that
that
we
we
didn't
didn't
come
come
late,
late,
not
not
even
even
once.
once.
So
So
we
we
had to
had to
always
always
leave
leave
early.
early.
The
The
program
program
normally
normally
starts
starts
by
by
8:30,
8:30,
9,
9,
9
9
mostly. So
mostly.
that
So that
means we
means we
had
had
to
to
leave
leave
by
by
7:30,
7:30,
make it
make
to
it
the
to the
Bundestag
Bundestag
before
before
9,
9,
because
because
German
German
punctuality
punctuality
means you
means you
should be
should be
there
there
15
15
minutes
minutes
earlier.
earlier.
So
So
um,
um,
that was
that
a
was a
difference for
difference
me
for me
that
that
stood out.
stood
The
out. The
fact
fact
that
that
whenever we
whenever we
had a
had a
meeting,
meeting,
nobody
nobody
was
was
late.
late.
The
The
host,
host,
the
the
people
people
speaking,
speaking,
everybody was
everybody was
always
always
on
on
time.
time.
And
And
if a
if a
meeting was
meeting
meant
was
to
meant to
start
start
by
by
9, it
9, it
starts
starts
by
by
9.
9.
Not
Not
that
that
we
we
sit
sit
by
by
9
9
and
and
then
then
by
by
9:10,
9:10,
9:15,
9:15,
they'll
they'll
have
have
clap
clap
until
until
everybody
everybody
gets
gets
together.
together.
No,
No,
it
it
starts
starts
exactly
exactly
9 on
9
the
on the
dot.
dot.
So I
So I
think
think
that
that
was
was
a
a
difference for
difference for
me.
me.
So the
So the
efficiency,
efficiency,
that's the
that's the
first.
first.
Then the
Then the
second
second
is
is
the,
the,
should I say,
should I say,
level of
level of
familiarity
familiarity
in the
in the
German
German
offices.
offices.
So
So
even
even
me
me
as
as
an
an
intern
intern
or
or
during my
during my
practicums
practicums
vocab,
vocab,
you
you
address
address
everybody in
everybody
the
in the
office
office
basically by
basically
their
by their
first
first
names.
names.
So
So
when you
when you
meet
meet
them for
them
the
for the
first
first
time,
time,
you
you
clarify
clarify
the
the
do
do
this and
and
this
is
is
it
and
and
most
most
people
people
would
would
ask you
ask
to
you to
use do
use do
with
with
them.
them.
So
So
that
that
means you
means you
use
use
do
do
for
for
everybody in
everybody
the
in the
office.
office.
So
So
that's
that's
very
very
nice. You
nice. You
address
address
people
people
by
by
name.
name.
The
The
office
office
environment
environment
is
is
very
very
familiar
familiar
but
but
still
still
very
very
official.
official.
So
So
and then
and then
everybody, I
everybody, I
also
also
like the
like the
fact
fact
that
that
nobody
nobody
needs
needs
to
to
be
be
supervised.
supervised.
Everybody,
Everybody
from
from
my
my
personal
personal
experience,
experience,
everybody in
everybody
the
in the
German
German
office
office
knows
knows
their
their
work, they're
work, they're
part of
part
the
of the
work,
work,
and they
and they
do it
do it
efficiently.
efficiently.
So
So
there's
there's
no
no
wasting
wasting
time,
time,
someone
someone
waiting to
waiting
be
to be
told to
told
do
to do
this.
this.
Everybody
Everybody
knows
knows
their
their
work
work
and they
and they
just do
just do
it.
it.
There's
There's
little to
little
no
to no
supervision.
supervision.
That
That
was
was
another
another
professional
professional
difference for
difference for
me.
me.
For
For
cultural
cultural
differences,
differences,
I would
I would
say
say
I
I
don't
don't
have
have
so
so
many
many
because
because
I
I
studied
studied
German.
German.
I've
I've
been to
been to
Germany,
Germany,
so I
so I
think
think
I'm
I'm
quite
quite
familiar
familiar
with
with
the
the
culture.
culture.
Nothing
Nothing
felt
felt
too
too
new.
new.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
a
a
cultural
cultural
difference
difference
was the
was the
weather.
weather.
So we
So we
were
were
in
in
Berlin
Berlin
in
in
January,
January,
and that
and
was
that
the
was the
peak
peak
of
of
winter.
winter.
And not
And
just
not
the
just the
peak of
the peak of
winter
winter,
because
because
now everybody
everybody
keeps
keeps
saying,
saying,
"Oh,
"Oh,
this is the
this is the
coldest
coldest
Berlin
Berlin
has
has
been in
been in
5 years."
5 years."
So
So
it was
it was
very
very
cold.
cold.
So that
So that
was
was
a
the
difference
difference
that
that
takes
takes
getting
getting
used
used
to.
to.
Okay. So, summary, you talked about the organization and efficiency, the fact that they were always on time. Learning German, you get to learn about the culture and you get to learn that the Germans are very punctual. And you talked about everything going smoothly, no hiccups, no lagging and the likes. Then, commendation, you also said something about being commended for your punctuality. The idea of the African time, I believe, did not come up at all over there. And he talked about leaving early. A quick question. Did you ever miss your train or your bus?
So I had a funny experience Did I miss the train? Yes. So it's the distance from the apartment we stayed. That's my own personal experience. From the apartment we stayed to the Bundestag, it's about 45 minutes an hour. So you have to take a bus to the train station, and then you take a train from the train station, and then you can either walk or take an underground to the Bundestag. So on this particular day, so we normally leave by 7:30 or 7:50. We catch the bus in front of the house together. So on this particular day, I was out early by 7:32 or so. I met one other person there. So we thought everybody else had left us with the bus. So we ran to the train station. That was a 20-minute run in the middle of winter. And then we got to the station. I realized that I had forgotten my ID card. So I had to go back. I had to catch the bus back to the house and then find my way back again. So I missed I missed the train when I was coming back. So it was a very stressful morning for me. Yeah, but I don't think I missed the bus. Oh yes, I think I've not missed the bus personally, but I have a friend, a colleague that watched us go in the bus. So that's also an experience for most people. So if you're not there on time, you would see the rest of us entering the bus. You just watch us go and then you have to wait for the next one.
Okay, that seems like an interesting experience. Then you also talk about the level of familiarity, the fact that after the first meeting you get to clarify, are we going to continue doing ourselves, seeing ourselves? So that's also something we get to learn in our language class. That's also something you get to learn in our language class. If you are learning German for the first time, you get to, the Z, the do, the difference is made clear immediately. So meeting someone for the first time, the level of familiarity is cleared. Then the first name basis. Yeah, you can go on.
Yeah. Know how serious the do and discipline is. I think that was my first time really experiencing how it actually works in real life. Because in real life, it's a thing. So, for example, in such an environment where everything is so official, you don't walk up to someone for the first time and you do with them. It's completely inappropriate. It's a big deal. So you actually have to start with the Z and then you get permission to go on with the do. That's how it works in most cases. But even outside, meeting someone for the first time, you start with the Z. It is very, very expected and very followed. So I just used to think it was a textbook thing of Z, do, you can use it anyhow you like. It's actually quite serious.
Okay, so I believe our audience is taking notes. Then you also talked about the first name basis, which is something not common for all Nigerians, or maybe part of Nigeria, so to say. Then you talked about the fact that people get to work, they know what they have to do without with little to no supervision. So everybody's basically like on autopilot doing what they have to do. There are no superiors, come and say do this or do that. That was also something very interesting. Then I think you talked about the weather being very much different. Quick question: did you get to build a snowman during the snow? Did you get my question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No.
You did not build a snowman. Oh, why not? All right. Thank you very much for that. Kafo, you have the floor. I can take the question again.
Hello?
Hello, yeah, we can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Should I take the question again?
Yeah.
Okay. So the question.
Yeah. I got the question.
All right.
So actually, she said, I got the question. Yeah, she already said, the punctuality, and also what I would add is the directness. Like, they want you to do this, they don't come through the corners. So they just go directly. Like, it's nothing personal. They just care about, okay, let's get the work done. So it's not like personal. Don't see it as, okay, they are trying, they don't like me or something like that. So they are very direct. But that's how they are. And also, one other thing I noticed that was actually like, that I found, well, because in Nigeria you wouldn't do that. For instance, and I think it's not that serious. For instance, like doing a meeting. Like people can be having their breakfast during a meeting. You wouldn't do that in Nigeria. You cannot be having a meeting and having your breakfast. Even like member of the parliament, you're having a sitting. somebody is actually like eating, like proper food. I saw a lady, she was actually like doing her makeup. They like she was part of the panel there. She was doing her makeup and nobody's, and that was like wow. You will do that in Nigeria, so that's
Okay, is that all from you? Okay. The same question I asked that before I go through your review. Did you miss the train or the bus at some time? And did you get to build a snowman? El Cafo, can you hear me? Hmm. Are you there?
hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Hello?
Oops. My network bad.
Hello, can you hear us now? Hello? Okay, while he's trying to get back, okay, are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Did you get the questions I asked?
No, I didn't.
I said I was going to ask you the same two questions. Did you miss the train or the bus? And did you ever get to build a snowman?
No, I didn't do this now because this snow was too much. Because I'm not ready to remove my glove and start drawing snow. People were telling me I should write their name in the snow. I'm not doing that. The code is just too much for me to be doing that. And also, I didn't miss my bus. But one thing I did was I actually entered the wrong train at the point. So the thing is that I was supposed to enter U8. So I was trying not to miss my train. So instead of the one I was supposed to take the, so I think the train they are both U8. So one is going and one is coming back. Instead of me to take the U8 that is going, I took the one that's like actually like going back. I just saw U8, I just entered. I didn't even like check that which U8, where is it going to? So I think so you have to join, even though you actually like you are in a hurry, make sure you check what train you are entering, because at the end of the day you become late because trying not to miss your bus, you actually like take another your wrong bus, then you have to try to navigate again. So that was actually my experience.
Oh.
And also funny how that day where I tried that day was even funny because then the train I use because normally your far card that you take with you every time. So no, I don't think anybody actually like had experience of us. We don't have the experience of them checking our tickets because it's just like once in a while. So the day I took the wrong train, that was the day they actually like check my tickets. And prior to that, I went out one particular day. I forgot my wallet and I didn't take my tickets. So I was wondering if it had been this day that I didn't take my card, my far card with me, and they actually like stopped me to ask my tickets. I didn't have it. I was wondering what I would have done. I would actually like just like pay money. So
Okay.
that's don't forget your card with you. Your far card with you. Don't forget that one.
Summary of what you said so far to the question. You said the Germans are very direct. I think some language schools, some lecturers would always point that out in the process of teaching or lecturing, that the German are direct. They'll tell you as it is. I think probably they are the one that organized or came up with the expression, you call it spade a spade. So if something is going wrong, they give it to you the way it is. And of course, it's not personal. It's just they being themselves, basically. So not going to the corners and, trying to calm down your feelings in any way. And he talked about they doing stuff that normally in Nigeria would not do in a meeting, something like eating and doing makeup. Frau Adegoke, did you get to experience that at all?
Yes, I did. I mean, Yes. I
I
did.
did.
I
I
think we
think
all, we
we
all
all
did. We
did. We
didn't
didn't
just
just
see
see
it.
it.
We
We're
also
also
parts
parts
of
of
this
this
doing
doing
unusual
unusual
things in
things
the
in the
meetings
meetings
because
because
we would
we would
have
have
meetings
meetings
with
with
coffee
coffee
or
or
with
with
snacks
snacks
with
with
croissant in
croissant in
front of
front
us,
of us,
and we were
and we're
also
also
eating.
eating.
So
So
we're
we're
also
also
participants of
participants
this.
of this.
It is
It is
quite,
quite,
now that
now
I
that I
think
think
about it,
about
I
it, I
think
think
it's
it's
quite
quite
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
I
I
think
think
one thing
one
that
thing
was
that was
also
also
not
not
allowed, and
allowed,
I
and
was
I was
very
very
disrespectful
disrespectful
at
at
tables or
tables or
meetings like
meetings like
that, is
that, is
being on
being
your
on your
phone.
phone.
So
So
it's
it's
really
really
frowned
frowned
upon.
upon.
You're not
You're not
expected to
expected
be
to
on
be
your
on your
phone,
phone,
but you
but you
can
can
eat, you
eat, you
can
can
have a
have a
coffee,
coffee,
you
you
can,
can,
yes, I
yes, I
think you
think
can
you can
actually
actually
touch your
touch your
favorite cup.
favorite
You
cup. You
can do
can do
anything
anything
apart
apart
from
from
being on
being
your
on your
phone.
phone.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I wonder why being on the phone is frowned upon, but you can do those other things. Anyways, then the last point from Ekafo is do not forget your ticket at home. Do not enter the wrong train, and yeah, so that's that. But you might still get to enter the wrong train, but having your ticket is very, very important. You never can tell how the people of the armed forces, so to say, would react per time. So just to be sure on that. Now, the next question we have. Remember, if you have any questions, put them in the comment section, and we will get to them as soon as possible. Next question: how important was your German proficiency during the program, and what level would you recommend for applicants? I think this borders on one of the questions that was asked. And I think Frau Adenike is out at the moment. Okay, so while we're waiting for her, let me read the question again. How important was your German proficiency during the program, and what level would you recommend for applicants? Kafo.
So I think
The
the
program
program
itself
itself
requires, I
requires, I
think,
think
B2. Is
B2.
it
Is it
B1
B1
or
or
B2?
B2?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
so
but
but
then
then
it
it
all
all
boils
boils
down to
down to
your
your
own,
own,
like,
like
how
how
confident you
confident
can
you can
actually,
actually
like,
like
speak.
speak.
Because
Because
then you
then you
can show
can
in your
show in your certificates,
certificates, but
but
then
then
maybe you
maybe
are
you are
shy to
shy to
speak. She
speak.
was
She was
actually
actually
have
have
confidence to
confidence to
speak.
speak.
But
But
one
one
thing
thing
there
there
is
is
that
that
you
you
will
will
the
the
German
German
being
being
used there,
used
they'll
there, they'll
make
make
sure
sure
like
like
you
you
understand
understand
what they're
what they're
actually like
actually like
saying.
saying.
They
They
won't,
won't,
yeah, it's
yeah, it's
just
just
hope
hope
Deutsch.
Deutsch.
They're not
They're not
using
using
a
a
strange
strange
German that
German that
we
we
can't
can't
understand.
understand.
They'll
They'll
make
make
sure you are
sure you are
understanding what
understanding
they are
what they are
trying to
trying to
say
say
there.
there.
So there's
So
no
there's no
out. I
out.
don't
I
think
don't think there's
somebody
somebody
there
there who could not understand what they are trying to say.
So,
So,
and
and
also,
also, even though there's no how your German can, Germans are very like, they are very considerate. Let's say, yeah, maybe I should say considerate. Like, they are very encouraging.
so
So
even
even
the
the
small
small
German,
German you speak, they will tell you speak sehr good Deutsch. So they will always encourage you to just to speak. So the thing is just that it's just confidence. So you just have to be confident in your German. So even if you're on B1 speaking level, be confident. So that's what I can say.
Okay. And Frau Adenike?
the question once again, please.
How important was the German proficiency during the program, and what level would you recommend for applicants?
Okay. So firstly, for the second question, level, I think B1, B2, but the program requires B2 to apply. So you need to have the certified B2 level to apply for the program. Yeah, German proficiency is very important for the program because the program is in German. So the series of workshops, the seminars, everything is going to be auf Deutsch. But they try to carry everybody along. But they also expect that you should speak German to a good extent too because the seminars, the workshops, people are coming from outside to talk. Sometimes you are going on tours to hear something from a tour guide. So yes, you need to have a good German level. But also it's not just for the program itself. Now the Berlin is, people say it's an international city, it's multicultural, da, 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 da. You don't need German. That was not my experience. Now I do see that if you speak, I love Berlin, and I saw that if you speak German, you will like Berlin even more because at the end of the day, you still need a good level of German to get around. Fine, you can do it with English, but people are just more receptive to you. People are more willing to help you. You go into a store and you speak German to whoever is going to attend to you. They are more willing to, actually explain to you because for them, English is a foreign language. So having to go back to English because of you, they'll just do it. But once they see that you understand German, people are more willing to help you. You are going to have a better experience generally. So That's the thing with German proficiency. But like Kafo also said, again, the team, the workshop leaders, everybody's very helpful. So of course, they don't expect you to have like on 100% German level. They know that you have an accent, but still they are very impressed that you can speak, you can communicate in this. So yes, German proficiency was very important in the program. And let's not forget that you also get to do a 1 week internship in the office of a member of parliament. So you are going to have to be able to take instructions in German. Somebody's asking you to bring something from the post. Now, asking people to not come out with it is not a problem. People would repeat, they would make sure you understand. But for me, for example, with the team members in the Office of Parliament, there were times where we had to go to meetings together, and that means we had to work together for like 5-10 minutes sometimes. Of course, it's not just going to be a silent work, it could be a silent work, but sometimes they are speaking to you on the road, so you do have to answer. They're asking you what your experience is like, they are telling you what is going to happen in the meeting you are going to. You need to have German proficiency, it's very important.
Okay, so a summary of what you both just said. For the application, especially for those still asking in the chat, the application you need your B2 certificate, and in terms of speaking, you should be confident in speaking. I think that's what you said. If you have your B2 certificate but you are not confident in speaking, I think it would even tell in the interview process. The interview was done in English or German.
In German, completely German.
And so if you have B2 certificate but you're still trying to hide your speaking skills, it might affect you. So the confidence in speaking alongside your B2 certificate. Then it talked about the fact that the Germans were encouraging you speak any amount of German, you're already hearing du sprichst sehr gut Deutsch, oder du sprichst sehr gut Deutsch. They are trying to, encourage you to use the language and be more open with the language. Then we talked about they being receptive and willing to help. So you go to a supermarket, you want to buy something, and you start speaking in German. They're always like, patient enough, calm to allow you to express yourself. Then whenever they are speaking and you don't get something, you can always, knock einmal bitte wiederholen and the likes. Then we also talked about small talks. I noticed the Germans do a lot of small talks, and like you said, walking from one place to the other, they would always need to keep the conversation going. So being able to hold these small talks conversations, what might also help you in the long run. So yes. Next question. I want to ask the question I've forgotten what. Yeah, next question. What skills, insights, or opportunities did you gain from the experience? The skills, the insights, and the opportunities that this IPS experience gave you. So let's start with Frau Adegoke now.
Okay, so talking of skills, insights, opportunities, that's a lot really, like it's so much, but I'll try to summarize or list the important ones rather. Now for me, firstly, I think one thing I learned as an insight, of course, we did get insight into the parliamentary democracy and we get to see how it works in a country like Germany. So the first insight was getting to compare the German system with the Nigerian system. So I would say I got an insight into German politics, but also the German work environment because fine, we were observing politics, but we're also in the actual work culture. So we get to see how things work in comparison. That was the first one for me. Skills. Now, in the series of workshops, I did learn quite a lot from the various workshops. But I think one that really stood out to me was the intercultural training. It was for the whole day, and it was really interesting because we got to see how things work apart from your culture. So sometimes I think that particular workshop just taught me to not take things personal, like Ekafu said, because sometimes it's just how things are done in that particular culture. For example, coming from a culture like Nigerian culture where we are not so direct, you want to say no, but you have to maneuver your way to the no, and then comparing it to German culture where no is said directly, that was an insight. So, and that's not just for Nigerian German, but for relating with people across the world generally, because as people that learn languages, we are global people to an extent. So, I think now I did learn something from that intercultural training too. Sometimes it's just a difference of cultures. It's not something personal. Somebody saying no directly or somebody just being direct. It's not them being, they don't have anything against you. It's just how it works in that particular culture. And for me, I think the program also developed the kind of interest in politics because going to the program and coming back, you would see that politics cuts across all aspects of our lives. It's not just something that happens for some particular people. Whatever is designed at the top comes down to the very bottom of the society. So I think that was also an insight for me, and I think that also kind of given me clarity or helped me see how I can continue with this in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Ekafo.
So for me, the insights that I could see, like what stood out for me was how transparent they were when it comes to their system. So when I was even like working with the member of the parliament, then like they're not actually like trying to like they're not hiding anything. Like, okay, this is the government, you can see what we are doing here. Like they're not trying to like seclude me that, oh, you are not from our country. Then maybe like I attend all their meetings, like everything they're talking about, I'm involved, I'm there. So that because and also their sittings, you will see that citizens can attend sittings, like they will just come, you attend sittings and all that. That's like that really stood out for me. And also one thing that when it comes to the skills, I was able to like gain networking skills. So we had a program, we had a workshop that is actually like major on networking, like how to network. So I think I gained a lot from that too, like different ways where you can network, like make new contacts and stuff, like even like physically and both online. So we had a workshop about on that as well. And also as Ali Kuki said, yeah, intercultural training. Like I think that one everybody really enjoyed that part. Because yeah, even like I was just like taking notes as far so that when I get back to I actually like pick a lot, like coming this was actually I did a training on that. I actually like my training was I did a training. But then the angle they were coming from is totally like different. Like it was a fresh perspective. So it was something, yeah, that was something again. That was really an highlight for me.
Okay, thank you very much. So, summary of what's the said. Talked about you gaining insights into how the insight into the parliamentary and how the democracy in Germany works. You also talked about comparing Germany to Nigeria's politics. And a question on that: how often did this comparison come up, and was there any metric where Nigeria was probably a bit higher than Germany?
Personally, I would say no. I think Jamie, like Ekafu said, first of all, I think you have to really respect the transparency because we as stipendiat 10 were allowed to, or we had to in fact go to the plenum. That's the if you are familiar with German politics, that's room where the purple chairs are, where the parliamentary sittings take place. So we had to go there, and a lot of citizens come. So you see, that's not something that we get to do here, and I think that's very important. And also, very important thing that you would see from working with the member of parliament, you would see how important it is for them to be engaged with the constituency. So they are not voted and then they are just there. Like, for example, say they're just there in Abuja. No, I think every week or every other week they have to go back to their constituency and engage with the people that voted them. As a matter of fact, it is expected that if you don't engage, you'll not be voted next time. So they have a responsibility to the people. And I think that's something that was very important and very, very interesting for me to compare. Where Nigeria would do better, I do not, I cannot say for now. Maybe I've not seen that much of the Nigerian side. But in so many ways that I was able to see in German, I think they do so many things right that we can incorporate. For example, they have fixed salaries that are public to everybody knows how much they earn. And I think something that was interesting for me as a Nigerian is the fact that politicians in Germany, they were just people. really like my member of parliament at the bicycle. The ladies come with like nails done, and I'm just like, oh, so this one just have like a nail tech that just does their nails. They just walk into a shop and get their nails done, their hair done. Like they're just regular people like everybody else that can go shopping. Fine, they are at the helm of decision making, but they're also regular people. So sometimes I was working in the parliament one day and I saw the president of the Bundestag, and I almost got the picture with her, but someone picked her away. That's how accessible they are. So I think that was also something that gave me a lot of. There are so many comparison levels really, but I think those are some that really stood out for me.
Okay. Ekafo, any comments?
Yeah, when you said it, so like when it comes like as she already like mentioned, they are very accessible. Like you can just like meet them in the train, which is not something like you would be expecting somebody like a Nigerian politician, yeah, with cars and with security and all that. You won't see that. You won't even see like fleet of cars and something like that. They're with bicycle, they're taking the train, so they're just like normal people. So they're just like representing the people, like so they don't. It's not like it's as if it's like a as if they are maybe like better off or they're just like normal people. Like you can just like walk up to them, ask them questions. That's so. I think it's something Nigerian can actually like incorporate.
Okay. So continuing, you talked about this experience helping you or making you develop interest also in politics because it affects every area of the country, every area of a citizen's life, basically. So we should all be interested or involved in politics. Then you talked about the transparency across all levels. That even citizens are coming to watch the sittings and just see what they are doing. The elected officials coming to give reports to the citizens. That's some level of transparency that we can also incorporate in our own political system. Then he talked about you developing networking skills in person and online. So those are quite the skills and insights and opportunities that can be gotten, and I'm very happy and glad you guys got that. The next question: what practical advice would you give Nigerian German students who want to apply for IPS or similar scholarships? So let's start with Kafo.
Okay, first of all, what I can say is that make sure you have a clear goal. Like, don't just say, "Oh, I just want to go because I just want to just go to Berlin." So you must be interested. So everything will not seem like boring to you. So you must have interest. Like even everything like is about like you should even have like interest in politics. I believe right now I believe everybody should have interest in politics because everything is politics. Something as small as environment, that's to do with politics. Something as small as education is politics. So just make sure you have. So for instance, we have everybody in every cities have different interests. We have people that have interest in feminism. Like yeah, there is actually like there's actually like your everybody just have like you have how do I say it's like your interest is somehow actually links to politics. So you are interested in feminism, you are interested in education. So I have there was a particular TPs that had my interest was in inclusion for the disabled, and that's also something that actually like makes sense. So just look for what you have interest in. So something as maybe like as little as education is also part of politics. Just find a way to just like link it. Just find a way to link it. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, so practical advice for people who want to apply for IPS or similar scholarships. Yeah. So I think the first thing would be like Eka for I said to have a clear goal. Take German learning seriously because you have to write in German, you have to read German. If you want to apply for German speaking opportunities, then you do have to speak German because it's not about getting these opportunities. Like you said, you have to be able to function in the environment of these opportunities. So I've received the IPS, I've received the JRD for the summer course, and getting the scholarship is nice, it's good, but I think people tend to forget the fact that after getting the scholarship, you would have to engage whatever they give you to do. So you have to seriously be interested in whatever the program is. And one thing that I think people forget to do is forgetting to tailor the motivation letters, the goals to whatever you want to apply for. So, for example, a motivation letter for the IPS will be different from a motivation letter for DID, for a simple summer course, or for what opportunity. For example, the Africa Comes is open, it will be different. So, different programs require different goals. So, you have to research deeply what is the goal of this program. Because when organizations, bodies, countries give scholarships like this, they have expectations. They're not just paying money for people to just come to Germany. It's an exchange, so they want you to come and learn something, but they also want to gain something from that exchange. So you have to really be able to say, okay, this is what this program wants to achieve from this scholarship or from this program, because they are investing thousands of euros or whatever currency it is into this program. So you have to be able to say, okay, this is what this program intends to achieve, and this is how I come into that. This is how you can demonstrate that I am a good investment. Basically, you are proving that you're a good investment in this program. So if you are trying to apply, make sure that your motivation letter, everything is tailored towards that, and it's very important.
Okay. Yeah, Eka, you want to say something?
To add something else, and also make sure you are open. Like, yeah, like I would tell a Nigerian that is going here, because you have to be open, because you're going to meet people from different background, different race, different religion, different sexual orientation. You have to be open. If you know you are not open, just like stay way back. So you have to just be like, so people don't really, they don't care about you. They don't really like care about your race. Like, you don't care about it. It's just what you have to impact. So your race, your religion, sexual orientation. So all those ones, you have to be open about it. So I think that's what I want to add.
Okay, so summary for those that did not get the question was practical advice for Nigerian German students who want to apply for the IPS or the similar scholarships. And according to their responses, they said you should have a clear goal and an interest. You're not just applying because you want to go to Germany. You're not just applying because you want to go to Germany. You're applying because you have interest in what you're applying for, what this German opportunity is offering, what they are giving you, and you want to pursue it. So having a clear goal, having the interest. Then it talked about various areas where you can have interest. There's the feminism area, inclusion of the disabled. We also have the SDG goals, the sustainable development goals. So you can always tailor your interest according to what you think applies, resonates with you better. It talks about using the language, engaging with the program, engaging with the environment. You're not just going there and just looking and just not doing anything basically. So you're going there, you're learning, you're engaging with the environment, you are sharing your knowledge at some point, and also learning new things basically. Then we talked about your motivational letter. Of course, most of these things, if not all, would always ask you to write a motivational letter. So in your motivational letter, you have to tailor it accordingly. Before you write a motivation letter, you want to go through the program, what's the offer, what you stand to gain, their goals, the vision and mission of the company, the program, and all, and you have to tailor your motivational letter accordingly. Then it's basically not a free something. They're not just inviting you to the country to come and have fun. They are giving you the opportunity to come to the country so you learn, and they're also gaining something from you in terms of your experience, your knowledge, and the likes. Then Kafo talked about openness. Of course, they're going to meet a lot of people with different ideologies, different religion, different background, different sexual orientation, and you can't do anything. You just have to be open to them and just be open. There's nothing you can say because this person is like this. You are trying to, separate yourself or something. So you have to be open, basically. That's like the summary of it all. Ekafu wants to say something.
Yeah, also I want to add also that it's actually like it's a 9 to 5 work. So you are not having fun. You are not actually having fun. It's Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So you have to wake up as early as let's say 6 o'clock, and you are coming back very late. So there's no fun. So you have to be prepared. Be prepared for that. So you have to like have that at the back of your mind that you are coming here to actually come and work, not to come out. It's not vacation. So I just wanted to add that.
I believe the audience is listening. You're not coming to vacate in Berlin. You're coming to do your 9 to 5. And yeah, so you take note of that if you'll be applying for the next edition come next year. When will the application be open for this year's on or next year's on? Any idea?
Around March. It usually opens around March to June, July.
So if you're interested in applying and you have your B2, feel free to check it out. March to June, July, you should. But we'll probably send updates on that via the email. Now, the next question. Okay, this is a side question. In this process, I mean the whole learning process, was there a spot or a point where you did more speaking than listening? More speaking of German than accepting or taking in the German? Yeah?
Yes. So in the program, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. So in the program itself, yes, there are seminars, there are workshops where you are just listening, but there's also these things that they call Austausch. So in an Austausch, just means exchange, and Austausch, someone is coming to you. They may not come like with a presentation to speak to you. It can be an expert on a particular subject. For example, they can bring a member of parliament that deals with inclusion, for example, and she's not coming to give you like a whole seminar workshop on inclusion. No, she's coming there, she sits there for 45 minutes to an hour, and you have to ask her questions. You ask her, she answers. You ask, she answers. So there's always an opportunity for you to speak. And even the actual seminars that are prepared PowerPoint presentation and everything, at the end there is always a question and answer session. So as much as you are doing listening, you have to speak because you have to ask questions, because you cannot be the only one not asking questions. It doesn't just you feel left out. And you ask questions too. I mean, the seminars are interesting sometimes where you get to really reflect and you have questions to ask, and all your questions always be answered in the best way that they can. So yes, you get to speak, and also with your colleagues as well, because we're from Africa. Fine, we had English as a united language for most of us, but sometimes there is like a French speaker, or you don't have to speak German, because sometimes German is just what unites us. So you are going to speak a lot of German, and it's expected. You will not just be listening and just be observing. You have to speak at the point.
Okay. Eka, anything to add?
And also there are also like parts of the program where we have to like present something, like as a country, you present something to everybody, just for them to know about your country, where you are from, how things work in your country. So yeah, there's actually a part for that. So, like you present like as a group, then there's a part where you present as an individual. So yeah.
Okay. So I believe we are listening. You're not just going there to taking and taking. You at some point you would also pour out from your abundance. Now the last question. In one sentence, what has this experience taught you about future possibilities for you? Let's start with, I can't remember who started the last one. Well, Frawadik, okay, let's start with you. Or maybe not in one sentence. You can feel free to elaborate.
All right. So I think for me, the experience taught me to be open-minded, because I knew what the program was about, but I don't think I knew exactly what to expect until the first day when we got to the program and the program continued. So I was a bit skeptical, like, is this not going to be boring? Is this going to be enjoyable? But it was a very enjoyable experience. So the program has just taught me to be open-minded. Sometimes something doesn't look like it's your thing, but it ends up being your thing at the end of the day. Like I said before, the program has taught me that politics is diagonal, like it comes down to all of us. And also, the program also, yes, we're in Germany, but we had an exchange with other African countries. So, I get to see, I can relate a bit to Namibia. If somebody talks about Namibia now, because I had a Namibian colleague, or I can relate to Uganda. So the program also helped me to navigate relationships with African countries, our shared history. We do have a lot in common, even if we have our differences. And I think the program also just helped me to think about how I can engage politically and socially. So you don't just go to the program and come back and you keep on thinking about it. I think the program now gives me a different perspective. Like when I see the news, when I see things, I can actually think critically and engage from the point of someone who has learned something. So I was not the person that went in December. I think I'm a completely different person now when it comes to political issues and things like that.
Okay. And a side question: do you see yourself in politics, like Nigerian politics, anytime soon?
No, and that was also something that we also learned, that again, being politically engaged, socially engaged does not mean that you have to join a political party. Just again, by how you involve in community building, how you help people. It can just be you going out every Saturday to clean your environment. You are already engaging in a particular way. So why joining a political party is good, is like the help of it. If you don't want to do that, there are so many other ways that you can also be a politically and socially engaged person, especially as a young person. It's very important for all young people to put themselves in politics anyhow they choose, even if it's just like getting a voter's card.
Okay. All right. Kafo.
Yeah, so what I've just learned from this program is actually that politics is everything. So if you actually think politics is boring, it's probably because you don't know how much it impacts the things that you care about. So you must actually be involved in politics. You don't have to be at the forefront, like apply for a political post to be actually like politically engaged. Like it's more than just like being on the social media, anywhere you are, like in your school as a teacher, anywhere, politics is actually like involved in our daily life. So just like you have to be involved. So,
Okay.
politics, everything.
So, summary of what the start of the question is: politics is being open-minded, ability to relate and navigate with other African countries, other African fellows and colleagues. Then, basically thinking about how one can engage politically and socially within the environment, within one's geographical location, so to say. Then the experience also helped be able to read happenings within the country or outside the country, and also engage with those articles, those news reports critically. So it's not just a regular news report this time. It's now something that's okay. What are things I can probably do to effect a positive change, basically. Then like the mentioned or highlighted, you don't have to join a political party, you don't have to join APC or PDP or LP or any political party. Within your small environment, you can engage with people around you and be socially active, push for change within that small environment you are. So it's not something you are like carrying a card of a party or something. Then talk about politics being everything, which we've already mentioned before. It's moved from the top down to the very bottom. And so that's that. Now, a bonus question. You both have been to Germany before. Was there anything you were particularly looking forward to, probably trying again in terms of probably meals or visiting a location that you probably were able to do or not able to do? Let's start with Kafo.
Yeah, that's something else. I didn't get the question.
I mean,
right?
You've been to Germany before. Now,
Yeah.
Was there anything you were like looking forward to this time around, to probably exploring, tasting, trying, whatever it may be?
Actually, the thing is that there was nothing to really like. There was no time to really explore because of this snow. The cold was just too much to actually like explore. So, like, even on weekends, I'm just like in my room. I don't want to go anywhere. So, the cold was just too much. I didn't really experience a lot. So, but one thing it was just that, um, compared to the last time I went, because the last time I went, it was a group. So it was a group. So we actually like going everywhere together. Like there was no time for me to like just follow people anywhere they go. But this time around, I could actually like just like go out on my own. Like go, for instance, my practicums worker. I have my where I was working is different from others. So I have to just like navigate the road on my own. So like I had to like do things like I was independent. But like the last time I went that we just have to like follow our lecturer everywhere. Like I don't know which bus to take, which I don't even have to like think, just follow them. So this time around I was able to just like do everything on my own like in a new country. So I didn't experience that the last time I went. So but this time around I was able to navigate everything on my own. So that was really nice.
Okay. Frau Adegoke.
Okay, so for me, experience of traveling to another country, you have a visa to a Schengen country, and Germany is among. You can go to other countries. You can go to Poland, countries within the EU area. I was looking forward to that, but I did not get to do that particular trip because of the cold and some other factors. That was one thing I was not able to do. But I was able to travel a bit within Germany. So I went to Halle and I went to Hamburg, and it was nice to compare Hamburg to Berlin, which is a much quieter, less rowdy city, if I can put it that way. Then I was looking forward to experiencing the winter, which I did, and coming back home. The question has been and is still, which do I prefer? Because it's very, very hot in Nigeria right now and it's very, very cold. And I'm still trying to see which works better. So I think that was one thing for me. I was really looking forward to experiencing winter, being in the snow, layering up. Like, how do people actually dress up in winter? Do you actually freeze? So that was something I really wanted to experience.
Okay. So you mentioned something I want to highlight. The Schengen visa. Once you get a Schengen visa, you have access to about 29 countries within Europe. So if you find yourself in Germany with a Schengen visa, don't miss that opportunity. Try to, explore other countries and have fun, basically. But then, like Ekafo said, it was a 9 to 5 something, and the winter was blood melting. Yeah, very good. So, thank you very much. Let me see if there are any questions we've not touched in the comment section. So somebody asked if it was GOTE exams you wrote. I believe we've answered that. You used your GOTE B2. Are there other exams or certificates that can be used in place of the GOTE B2 certificates?
So on the application website, there is a part where your lecturer, whoever writes recommendation for you, can fill in your language level. But again, it puts you at a less competitive range, because if someone has a certified GOTE B2 C1, then they have an edge over you. But in Nigeria so far, I think the only exam you can take is GOTE. I think the other exams, TELC, test staff, they're not readily available.
Okay. So that answers the question. You need your GOTE certificate B2. Then the other ones are not currently in Nigeria, but if you're not in Nigeria, you might be able to take them in other countries. But I think I might be wrong, the most generally recognized is still GOTE, but I might be wrong. Take that with a pinch of salt anyways. Then the next one, is it only through GOTE exam we can get the certificates needed to go to Germany? Okay, we just answered that. Next question, concerning the motivation, what exactly do they need to see in it? Kafo, can you rehash this again?
I think you mentioned that already. You must have something you actually care about, talk about that particular thing. For instance, now, it doesn't even have to be one thing. For instance, my Schwerpunkt was Bildung, which is education, aktive Zuhörer und politische Teilhabe, insbesondere unter jungen Menschen, that is political participation, among young people. So it doesn't even have to be one interest. can say you have interest in politics and sports, you have interest in culture. So just make sure you have and talk about that. Then talk about your engagement, like something as small, like it's not like I was like a youth something, maybe like a youth leader. What I just mentioned there was that in school, when I was in school, I was the vice president of my of my of German unit of my department, and I was also his social director at the point. So it was not something like it doesn't have to be like something like very big. Even something as small as you being the class rep, all those things, just mention them.
Okay.
Yeah, your volunteering experience, things like that. So just
Okay.
mention that in your motivation.
So, summary, have a Schwerpunkt, the focal points, something that you're particular on, and it doesn't have to be just one thing, it can be a number of things, and talk about your engagement in terms of volunteering, in terms of being a unit leader, a class leader, a grass rep, or whatever it is you can do in terms of volunteering and giving back to the community. You can always bring that up in your motivation now later. They are always looking at that. Another question. Okay. It said, are there common mistakes applicants should avoid? I don't know if we touched that already. Common mistakes applicants should avoid. Frawadinike, do you want to talk on that?
I don't know if it's a common mistake, but I think your motivation letter should be straight to the point. So anything more than 2 pages, you're doing so much, 1.5, 2 pages, that's okay. Once you start getting to the 3rd page, bring it compactly because you're reading so many. So 2 pages max. Yeah.
Okay. So, Ekafo, any addition?
And also, keeping your document in a single file. Like, yeah, so you're not supposed to just like put in different PDFs, like you submit your motivation space separately. Everything has to be like combined in a single PDF. So
okay,
pretty like straightforward.
Everything has to be combined in a single PDF. So I think that answers the question. And someone is asking, how about the onset exams? Can they be used for the IPA scholarship? Ekafo? Or anybody? Onset exams, can they be used for the IPS scholarship?
Can you hear me? Okay,
yes.
Ekafo. Okay. I'm not sure. So I don't think they have a particular certificate they want. They're not so strict on that. But again, the good is rather the accepted one. If you do onset, I think they should take it because they just say B2. They want to see a B2 certificate, anything that shows B2. So I think they should take onset. But if you can, Gote is always more recognized. Some bodies don't take onset or those other exams. So if you can, it's always recommended to do Gote and have Gote.
Okay. Kafu, any comments on that? No. Okay. So their website might probably state, but like Fraudinica said, as long as it's B2, so if your onset is B2, you should still, shoot your shots. But if you can get the Gote alongside the onset, I mean, it's also advisable. So, thank you very much for joining us. Before you log out or leave the session, remember to subscribe, like, and comment. And we are NAGELSS, National Association of German Language Students and Speakers, and our idea is basically to bring German students, German speakers of Nigerian descent together. So we have a sort of community that we can tap into, get resources, just have this, Zusammengehörigkeit this feeling of togetherness and community. So thank you very much for joining us on this session. Ekafo, Frau Adegoke, and our lovely audience. We will be back with some other powerful sessions. So thank you very much and have a very beautiful evening. Ciao, ciao.